our channel Education for Life. So in today's video, we'll be looking into 10th CBSE Science chapter number 6, Life Processes. So before going into the video, let us see what are the things we are going to learn in this video. Introduction, criteria to decide whether something is alive, what is life processes, what is nutrition and its type, autotrophic nutrition, how do plants make their own food, heterotrophic nutrition and nutrition in amoeba. So the place where we live or the surroundings in which we live is called as environment, or it is also called as ecosystem. Okay, ecosystem consists of two important components. One is your living things and other one is your non-living things. So living things is otherwise called as biotic components and non-living things is otherwise called as abiotic components. So living things is made up of plants, animals and human beings, whereas abiotic components are made up of land, water, air, soil. So living and non-living, how do you know which organism or which object is living or non-living? So if a thing is living, if an object is said to be living, then it should be able to move, grow, it should be able to eat, respire and excrete. So the opposite of it is going to be a non-living thing, right? So in case of that, non-living things do not move, they do not grow, they do not feed, or they do not respire. So those kind of objects or organism are going to be a non-living thing. So how to determine whether a person is alive or dead? Okay, so they say that the most important criteria to determine whether a person is living or it is being non-living is the movement. Okay, for example, when you sleep, when a person is sleeping, how do you know whether the person is alive or dead? It is only by his breathing movement. Okay, if the person is alive, then he is of course going to breathe. So you can see the movement of the body of inspiration and expiration. Okay, then you determine that the person is living. So which plays an important role? The movement. So movement can be visible as well as invisible. Some movements are very visible, like you move from one place to another, it is visible. Okay, but some movements like movements of oxygen and movement of carbon dioxide from our body cannot be seen by our naked eyes. Neither the movements of microorganisms in the environment is not seen by our naked eyes. It doesn't mean they are non-living. So invisible movements are also considered, so that it falls in the criteria of living things. Okay, so there are other molecular movements and taking place in our cells and tissues. For example, nutritions, everything is transferred from one place to another in our body by this movement only. So one basic or important criteria to determine whether a person is alive is the movement. Okay, are the basic processes in the living beings which is necessary for maintaining the life. So for a person to live, there are some processes which is going inside the person. Suppose the heart stops beating, of course the person will die. So it is very essential. So these life processes helps the person to be alive, to maintain his living life. So those processes are called as life processes. So there are basic 7 life processes. Okay, so there are nutrition, respiration, transportation, growth, reproduction, sensitivity and movement. So these are the 7 life processes of an organism. So there are totally 7 life processes, and these 7 life processes can be easily remembered by a mnemonics Mrs. Green. Okay, Mrs. Green. So in the first letter of Mrs. Green we have movement, M. So all the things move, all the living things are capable of moving, right? This is one of the life processes. Then the R, in the Mrs. Green, the second letter is to be the R. R is for respiration all living things respire, then it is one of the life processes. That means respiration is one of the life processes. The third one, Mrs. S. S for sensitivity. All the living things are sensitive. Okay. So when there is a change occurring outside the environment, like when it is too hot, you can say that it is summer. Same way, when it is too cold, we can say that it is winter. So you feel the coldness and hotness, which means the body is sensitive. Then you have G, that is for growth. All the living organisms in this world are capable of growing. So you do not look the same when you were born, right? So you have grown up. So growth is the fourth life processes. Then the fifth one is R, that is reproduction. All living things are capable of reproducing their young ones. Only reproduction happens, then only there is survival of species. Okay, reproduction is essential for the survival of species. Then the E. E stands for excretion. Okay, excretion of all the living beings are capable of excretion. The waste material which is removed from our body on a daily basis, that process is called as excretion. Then the last letter N. N stands for nutrition. All living things need nutrition. Basically, the food which we intake on daily basis provides you nutrition or energy to do your daily activity. So these are the 7 life processes: movement, respiration, sensitivity, growth, reproduction, excretion, and nutrition. So the first life process which we are going to see is nutrition. So nutrition is a process in which you intake the food, and this food is being utilized by the body to maintain its body parts, to repair the damaged parts, and to give you energy. And this whole process is called as nutrition. Nutrition is basically to maintain the body and to provide energy. So when you take any food, for the example idli dosa, it is going to be a complex food. So this complex food has to be broken down into its simpler form so that you can utilize its energy. So this is done by an enzymes. Enzymes are the biocatalyst which helps in the breaking down of complex food into a simpler version. Okay, so that is what is the function of an enzyme. So when you talk about nutrition, nutrition can be classified into two, that is heterotrophic and autotrophic. Okay, so let's see what is autotrophic. So autotrophic is a mode of nutrition in which an organism prepares its own food. When organism is capable of making its own food, then that type of nutrition is called as autotrophic nutrition. So the best example is plants. Plants are autotrophs. Next type is heterotrophic nutrition. So heterotrophic means it's the mode of nutrition where an organism depends upon another organism for its food. Then it is called as heterotrophic nutrition. For example, human beings, animals depend upon plants for their food. So they are called as heterotrophs. So first we will be seeing autotrophic nutrition. So autotrophic nutrition is mainly seen in case of plants, and it is going to be of two types. One is chemosynthesis and other one is photosynthesis. So chemosynthesis, chemo means chemicals and synthesis means to produce or to form something. So the food here is formed from the chemicals, or it is synthesized from the chemicals. Then it is called as chemosynthesis. Next one is photosynthesis. So photo means light, synthesis means to make. So when the food is made from the help of sunlight, then it is called as photosynthesis. So nutrition in plants is via a process called as photosynthesis. Okay, the plants obtain their food. Or how do plants make their own food? So plants make their own food via the process called as photosynthesis. So what is photosynthesis? So photosynthesis is a process by which plants prepare their own food by using sunlight, okay, by using sunlight to synthesize nutrition, that is glucose and water. Okay, so plants use what all things? Sunlight, carbon dioxide, okay, and they give out the nutrient that is going to be your sugars, that is glucose and oxygen. So this is the byproduct of the photosynthesis. So this involves a green color pigment called as chlorophyll. So photosynthesis takes place via this pigment called as chlorophyll. So let's see what are the steps in the process of photosynthesis. First, what does the plant do? The plant absorbs the sunlight. So first thing you should know that photosynthesis, this process takes place in which part? It takes place in the leaf. Leaf is the site of photosynthesis, and this leaf consists of a green color pigment called as chlorophyll. So this chlorophyll helps in absorption of the light energy from the sunlight. Okay, so the light energy is absorbed from the sun by this chlorophyll. Okay, then what is happening? As I said, it is photosynthesis, right? The energy is obtained from the light. So here the conversion of light energy to chemical energy, okay, thereby the splitting of water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, the water molecules is going to split and it is going to form hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, the third step is reduction of carbon dioxide into carbohydrates. As I said, sunlight and carbon dioxide are going to play an important role in the photosynthesis process. So carbon dioxide is being reduced to the sugar. So in case of photosynthesis, you get glucose. Okay, so this is what is the chemical equation of photosynthesis. 6 molecules of carbon dioxide combines with 12 molecules of H2O, that is water. When these two combine in the presence of sunlight, they produce sugar plus 6 molecules of water and 6 molecules of oxygen. So this oxygen is only respired by us. Okay, so this is the chemical equation of photosynthesis. Next, the site of photosynthesis, as I said, it is the leaf. So main function of leaf in the plant is to produce the food by the process of photosynthesis. So there are two important structure in leaf which is helping in the process of photosynthesis. The first one is chloroplast. So as I said, the leaf appears to be green in color due to the presence of chlorophyll. So these are the round circular structure which you see in the leaf in its cross section. Okay, so these are found inside the plant cell. So these are the organelles which consist the green pigment called as chlorophyll. So this organelle is called as chloroplast. Okay, so chloroplast is the exact place where the photosynthesis takes place, where the food is prepared inside the leaf. So when you cross sect a leaf, you see it under the microscope. You can see here in the left bottom, you can see the slides. The plant cell, you can see a green dot like structure. These are the chloroplast. Okay, so chloroplasts are the cell organelles which is going to contain the chlorophyll pigment. The next important structure which is going to help in the process of photosynthesis is stomata. So stomata, what is stomata? Stomatas are the small openings which is present in the which you can see on the base, or you can see at the behind the leaf. So these are the small opening which you see in the leaf, which is seen on the upside down. Okay, upside down you can see this pores. So this stomata mainly helps in the process of Exchange of gases. As I said, carbon dioxide is taken in by the plants for preparing food and oxygen is given out. So via this pore only exchange of gases is taking place. So how is this pore open and close? Opening and closing of stomata. How does it happens? So let's see. So what happens is when you see the diagram, there are two yellow bean shaped structure. These are the guard cells. So guard cells are seen around all the stomata. Okay, they basically guard the stomata. So the main function of guard cells is helping the stomata to open and close. What happens? There are two situations. So these guard cells are capable of changing their shape. So first, when the stomata is in open position, so you can see the water will flow into the guard cell and the guard cell will get swollen. It gets swollen, thereby opening of stomata takes place. The second one is closing of stomata. When, in what situation is the closing happen? Is when the water is totally out of the cell. Then what happens? Of course, the cell will shrink. Thereby, shrinking will lead to the closing of stomata. So, the opening and closing is basically regulated by the guard cell. Okay, that is by swelling and shrinking of the guard cell, opening and closing of stomata is taking place. Next one. So, with this, we have done with the autotrophic nutrition, which you see in case of plants. Next, moving on, next is heterotrophic nutrition. As I said, heterotrophic nutrition is a mode of nutrition where an animal or an organism depends on other organism for their food. So this heterotrophic nutrition has been classified into three: holozoic nutrition, saprophytic and parasitic. Holozoic means it is like organism is going to ingest a food and it is going to digest and absorb it. Okay, so intake of food is called as holozoic. Like human, animals and insects come under holozoic. Saprophytic, these organisms will be depending upon the dead materials as their food. So saprophytic depends upon the dead food material. So food material is the dead matter. Okay, example is bacteria, fungi. Then parasitic. Parasites, you have come across this word parasite. So parasites, they totally depend on other animal, that is the host, for their food. Then it is going to be a parasitic mode of nutrition. So the parasite obtains nutrition by living on the body of the host. Example is fleas, lice and tapeworms. So how do organisms obtain their nutrition? So we'll first see in a unicellular organism. So organism can be basically classified into multicellular and unicellular. So in today's video, we'll be seeing holozoic nutrition, or you can say that nutrition in amoeba, that is a unicellular organism. So how does an amoeba intake food? So what happens is, first in the first diagram you can see that an amoeba is capable of sensing a food around it. Okay, so when it senses the food around it, what does it do is its body is turned into a finger-like projection called as pseudopodia. Okay, so the finger-like projection pseudopodia will surround the food particle. It will just go and surround it with the food particle. As it gets surrounded, it gets inside the amoeba and it is enclosed in a vacuole. Okay, vacuole means a round structure. So this vacuole is called as food vacuole. So the food is enclosed in a food vacuole. So this food vacuole will consist of both food as well as water. Then what happens? Then enzymes, okay, from the cytoplasm will be secreted. So the amoeba's cytoplasm, it will secrete the enzyme. So these enzymes will be put into the food vacuole and the food is digested, okay, and soluble material is absorbed by the amoeba, right? The material which is soluble, which can be absorbed, is taken up by the amoeba, and which is undigested, okay, that is expelled. The same way it will again form a projection and it will push this vacuole out, that is a part of excretion. So this is how nutrition amoeba is seen, how this is how the next riddle time. So from this video I will be giving you a riddle in each video, okay, in every video I post. So today's riddle is, we are two brothers on opposite side of the road, but we never see each other. Who are we? So if you know the answer, please do post it in the comment box and I will reveal the answer in the next video. Until then, thank you, and please subscribe the channel, like the video and share it with your loved ones.